To the Left by Ludwig Bemelmans. At 3 o'clock is a concert for the patients, to be held in a long, windy porch. Rows of benches have been placed. A platform faces them. Nina Morgan will sing. They say she is from the Metropolitan, or will go there. The men were walked in with all the attendants available. They stand at the sides of the benches. Almost one soldier, nurse, or guard for every 4 men. They watched every motion of the singer with interest. It was a change from ward routine, but I doubt whether any of the men have heard much music, would know any of its values. They seem appreciative out of duty. There is no disturbance. The guards keep their eyes on the men. It would be disastrous if anything happened here, at least very dangerous. And it is very brave of Miss Morgan to come here. With her are the officers, and I thought it tactless that they somehow managed to give the impression that they and Miss Morgan belonged together, and were much above both the patients and the soldiers. This was shown in their faces. Tomorrow the men who take care of the patients, the attendants, will be examined. There seems to be a danger of some of them getting ill themselves. The Red Irishman tells me that in state asylums the nurses get very long vacations, and that a high percentage of them go mad in the end. Also, he says that all the doctors are half mad. I have not been able to observe this myself. They are peculiar, and there is a tendency to assume that they are not normal, which I think is a wish, not a fact. We are being examined. 2 doctors test reflexes, cover our eyes, and then look into them quickly. We have to find the tip of our noses with the index finger of the right hand, and eyes closed, and other such tests. Also, of course, the knee test. After we pass the doctors, we are ordered to get into 2 lines, one on the right, one on the left. The line at the right is long, the one on the left very short. After a while, the ones at the left, with whom I am, are told to stay, and the right line is diminished. I am fortunate, for there is confusion while the dismissed pass us by, and I manage to leave with them, stepping out of my line. I have done the better thing. The men at the left were again examined, more thoroughly so, and 5 out of 24 are being held back. They pack their things, and that evening they are in bathrobes at one of the tables in the patient's mess and in the ward. Dreadful as it is, some of the other men have a hard time to conceal laughing at this. No one, however, asks them anything, and they look down at their plates and feel ashamed. One of them, in the middle of the meal, throws his cup against a wall and sobs and then screams. The Red Irishman is quickly behind him and holds him tightly. He fights, and then 2 more help to carry him out. My knees are weak. My hands not my own. I feel in danger. Yesterday afternoon, as I walked across the parade ground, someone shouted my name loudly and right in back of my left shoulder. I turned, and there was no one there all around the mile-wide field. I stood still motionless, and with loud heartbeat. There was a bitter taste in my mouth, and my hands felt loose again. So did my arms and my whole body. Then, hot and cold and wet, and tears came to my eyes. Then I walked to my quarters, and there again I heard my name called by the same voice, as distinct, and again in back of my left shoulder. I turned instantly, and there was no one again. The barracks in which I live have a hall and a wide straight stairway leading up. This stairway started to run itself around me in a yellow light. I fell. Luckily no one saw this. I came to my consciousness again, and slowly walked up and lay down on my bed. In the last month 2 men in this room have jumped up in the night and become patients. I see them every day in the mess hall. I think they will not come out again. For 2 hours I lay straight on my bed and looked at the ceiling. I thought of going to a doctor in Buffalo, but he might only give me away. Besides, all the psychiatrists are from Buffalo and work here. I would most probably run into one of our own men. Also, would I hold out as far as Buffalo? Now that the mind is loose from its moorings, I think it best to end my life rather than to go into the wards. I have formed this plan, if only I can carry it through and hold on that long, because I am afraid to even move. I know where the guardhouse is. I know where the guns are. I will walk down the stairs, straight out the door, across the lawn, and into the guardhouse. There are men there, but I will manage to be plain, so they will notice nothing. Go into the lavatory with a gun that I will take from a holster, and then shoot up into my brain through the roof of my mouth. I get up and start to walk down the stairs and out of my quarters with my mind fixed on this must of death, and afraid that a second of thinking, of reasoning, of hope might mean weakness and change my mind. I go out of the barracks and fall over a cat, and the cat does not run, and everybody laughs loud. An order has been issued the day before to get rid of all the cats, of which we have a plague. 2 soldiers collected them all over the fort and brought them back in their arms, then dropped them into an ash can that is outside our barracks. When they thought all the cats were in there, they went to the hospital and got 4 cans of ether and poured them in over the animals, then clamped the lid down, put a stone on it, and left. Some cat friend who did not like this came and took the stone off, upset the barrel, and the cats came out and regained consciousness. They are wandering around in a stupor, lean against the ash can, and look cross-eyed. Their motions are so funny, at times like half-wound-up toys. At others, particularly the black cats, who are wet with sweat and ether, they look like caricatures of cursed souls. None of them can stand up. It is so strange and funny. Everyone laughs, so must I, and it seems so silly and useless to think that one might want to die. I have never heard my name again, although I have waited for it with a mind inside my own that is on watch all the time and dreads this. The front mind does the duties and thinks. I have found a way to calm myself. I go myself to the long baths. There is a bathroom for the men that is not much used, as they prefer showers. I lie in it whenever I can, and I have started to think in pictures, and make myself several scenes in which I can escape instantly when the danger appears. These are all scenes from my childhood. Best of all, whenever the bitter taste, the tugging inside, and the prickly fear in hands and temples arrives, it is a walk from the Castle Tyrol down to Meran. I have taken this walk often. I remember almost every tree and the turns of the road, the sound of the church bells from Meran below and from the village up above, the light on the mountains at different times of the day and the season. I make it a practice to walk through Tyrol every time I am in danger. I start from the door of the castle and go down past the highest vineyards. There I place a little girl with bare feet to a field on the mountain slope where oxen drag a plow, and to an inn where I stop and sit down. I drink wine and eat boiled chestnuts. I have built all this with desperate detail and clarity, and as if I were painting it, to this end, the color of the red wine, the shape of the bottle in which it comes, the pattern of the chairs and the table, the lamp and the foliage and the tree, are things that hold my mind and have to be thought about. I go there in sunshine and in rain, in summer and in winter, to vary the play, to change the clothes, the room, the people. We are inside the inn in winter. I people this room with the group of peasants that appear in Defregger's paintings and on the covers of Fliegenblätter. There are hunters with dash-hounds and guns, gendarmes, children, and the detail of the room with ivy growing out of the pots high over the windows and running along the ceilings. The detail goes to flies, to the design on the buttons of the gendarmes. In all of this is protection, and time is gained. In this warm water is not only rest for the body, but for my mind, a bath for the soul. In 6 days I have constructed 6 such islands of security. The inn at Klobenstein, with the red sunset of the Dolomites and many people I love, a walk on the Danube from Regensburg, Bavaria, to Kelheim, and a ride back on a slow train, a visit up and down to the Hungerberg, over Innsbruck in Tyrol, a performance of a group of the peasant theater in Munich, and a visit to a small restaurant in back of the Church of Our Lady. Also a ride in a landau through Munich and the English gardens. I intentionally think little of my brother, my mother, my friends, because in this I sense a bridge to a dangerous state. Pictures I want, instant happy pictures that are completely mine, familiar, warm, and protective. I have bought some colored crayons and make some of the sketches, but this is inadequate. The The mental pictures are luminous, alive, and real, while the drawings are inadequate. Only they help to recall detail. There is a window on the peasant church in Klobenstein, Tyrol, which I had completely forgotten until I made a picture of the church. This helped me to reconstruct the entire scene. There is a poor Jew in the hospital. He is pretty bad, in a solitary cell. He is occasionally beaten up. That is, he must be subdued and then taken to the bath, where he screams as they use the cold spray on him. It is not because of his religion, but the same treatment as all other cases receive who are as violent as he is. However, he has clear moments, and no one comes to see him. He is all alone. Rabbi Kopold is at the head of a temple called Emmanuel. It is on the best street, the avenue in Buffalo. I visited him and told him of this man, that it might do good to see him, that he would perhaps be able to find his people and get him out. I expected to find a man with a little black cap and sore eyes and a mumbling beard, which was my mental picture of a rabbi. But he is tall, elegant, with the manners of a nervous scientist or a surgeon, and seems to be completely unreligious, without the behavior of benediction and salvation in his speech or movements. He is a great surprise to me in his freedom. He has given me several introductions to houses, some of them Jewish and some Christian. He seems to know everybody in Buffalo and be in high esteem. I attend some of his services and always enjoy the blessing at the end, which is very simple and well written. Most so the words, "And may the Lord lift up his countenance and give you peace." We speak of religion, and I am glad to hear how free he can be, without hocus pocus. His acceptance and his preaching of religion are. There are dances at the temple for the soldiers. I go to all of them. The girls come from nice families and are very lovely, and most of all very simple. Simple and unaffected as they are, I cannot talk to them. And this seems stupid. It is also, when I think of it, remarkable that you can walk up to one you have never seen before, take her around the waist, and dance and press her only because this is a ballroom and there is music. Anywhere else, one would have to be very well acquainted and alone. One of the girls at a dance in another place, at a large house, is more beautiful than all the others. This is at a Presbyterian church. My hands are moist and my cheeks burning, and when we have danced, I eat ice cream. I have nothing to say, that is, I can't say it, but in the bath I take her, Doris, with me from the Castle Tyrol to Meran. There are more invitations. I have bought a uniform in Buffalo and have to keep it pressed one time very week. Also gloves and several white bands to wear inside the collar. The chaplain has a list of people who wish to entertain. He sorts out the guests and keeps in mind what people would like which kind of soldier. He sends me to nice houses, I think to the best, and almost every evening is taken up. Many large parties are very dull and all alike. A dance, ice cream, and cake, and then some terrible singing. But the American soldier songs are humorous, not like the Germans, which are filled with blood and iron and the Kaiser. Here they are: "Johnny, get your gun. If he can fight like he can love. Fritzy, pull your shade down, Fritzy boy." They were all out of step but Jim. This singing is well meant, but it makes me feel embarrassed. I always feel bad when I see many people do the same thing, that is, marching, playing, singing, particularly marching, and when I see children marching, and certainly so with a band, my eyes fill with tears. Why? I don't know. After we have sung and eaten, there is a march around, and after that more dancing when the band plays "Good night, ladies," and it is over. The soldiers have to go home. All the girls,